Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. This is a replay review for one of my patrons on Patreon. That is Kurze Lunte, and we will now go into his view and discuss all of the things he's doing incorrectly, or perhaps correctly. So wait, let's take a look at the rating. 471 on the ladder. The only number that counts. Now one sec, I'm looking at an email I got. And we have a caster to plug. So first let's plug Nartek, who has been casting many games, in fact, not some, but so go check out Nartek's channel. Also we have, let's see, a Total Annihilation caster, and one of my subscribers asked me to plug this guy, and I'll put a link. The channel is just called Total Annihilation Replays, so go check it out if you're interested in Total Annihilation. Something's gone wrong with my recording, but here we go. I think we're fine actually. So we slowed down the game because we want to look at Kurtz's build. We have a lab, we have an engineer. So we have first lab. Now first thing we can see here is P-gens being built after mass extractors. So obviously factory first. It's normal, but after factory first you make power. So Kurze has just made the classic error of making mexes before power. Mexes cost a lot of power to make, and so you gotta invest in P-gens before that. So obviously very simple mistake, and simple mistakes are good because we can get rid of those very easily. So this is gonna hurt now, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes. Let's go back to 0 for a moment. We've gone first lab. The map is Desert Planet. Desert Planet 2, Desert Planet 2 V2. Great. 10 by 10 map. 3 bases for you. 3 bases for your opponent, because that would only be fair. Little bit extra mass in mid. Reclaiming 2 mexes. Hydros in each base. And quite a large 10 by 10 map. It's a strange thing to say because obviously all 10 by 10s are the same size, because 10 by 10 is a measurement of area, but this one feels quite large, and rather feels more static because you can see there's a big distance between the enemy bases. And also there's small choke points, so this can be quite relaxing gameplay. Sometimes it's not so relaxing, but it's very often that you'll get to T3 on this map. I hear a lab shooting. Hang on, I definitely heard a lab shooting. Okay, oh, that's what it was. It was this lab killing the scout initially. So that's just a problem of attention there. Kurze simply didn't realize his scout ran into the enemy lab. And I mean, there's not really any training you can do against that. I can't really help in many areas. The problem of trying to teach people is that teaching is very limited in what you can do. So in this scenario, I don't even know what to say about this, except you have to be able to pay attention. I would say in this case, the sound cue is what gave it to me. So if you're not using game sense, some people play with no sound, play with loud music on. I can't do that because I need these sound cues. So I heard the lab shooting. Then if I'm playing this game, I know I have a lab here, and then I can react quickly and look at my lab. But Maybe Kurze didn't hear it, didn't register that a lab was shooting there, so, you know. Now here, a lab has got past, and it was actually in range of this Mantis. To avoid labs getting away, if you give an attack order, because obviously they are faster than the Mantis, then the Mantis will just continue to chase, and you just never click on the Mantis again, and eventually that lab will die. You have to be careful, sometimes the lab doesn't run around your Mantis and kill an engineer behind, but that's not going to happen here, because there's no engineers here. Brings us to a certain issue. There should be engineers here. There should be engineers expanding in all directions. I think the most simple way to ever get ahead in Spring Commander is to have more mass. And the most simple way to have more mass is to expand just a bit faster than your opponent. You expand faster than your opponent, build your own T1 mexes faster, you will have more mass. And then you should win the game. So the whole goal of the start of a game is expand as quickly as possible, but also as safely as possible. You don't want to just send engineers in every direction and no tanks, obviously, because any half-competent opponent will kill all of your engineers and you'll have nothing and you'll lose. So as quickly and safely as possible, and also do damage to your opponent as you do that. I mean, the doing damage is honestly, depending on the map, is a side objective. Some maps you have to do damage because you can't really avoid taking damage. So, say open palms, it's very difficult to avoid losing some engineers that are expanding in the first, in the early game. But other maps, you can without too much difficulty expand, get your bases, and you shouldn't have much trouble. So the whole goal there is to expand as quickly as possible. So on this map, you can get raided, but you should be able to protect your engineers in the majority of cases. Not that raiding is impossible, but this is not the most aggressive map. So this is a huge problem then. Expanding slowly is a problem. You'll simply lose by having less mass against other opponents. But once again, we like simple rules, simple problems. They're easy to understand and implement and fix. So here we've brought an engineer and an ACU to the expansion. Why have we done that? The only reason you would bring them both to the same place is so that the engineer can start the hydro and the ACU builds the hydro with the engineer. Or the ACU builds on his own, the engineer walks away and starts expanding elsewhere. So this factory shouldn't have gone up. This factory has now emptied the power bar. There was some power here. 2,400 power for a land factory. That's not too important for you. Oh no, 2,100. But what is important, that it costs quite a bit of energy, and you need energy here, so it would have been much better if you walked here, build a mechs, build a hydro, and then build factories afterwards. We would have no economic problems whatsoever. But we do, which is unfortunate, but again, these things come from experience. So these are some problems. This is just a simple... You have to make these decisions all the time in this game. Small decisions like this, like, do I build a hydro first or do I build a factory? And if you make the wrong choice there, which you did, it will hurt you, but it will not lose the game by itself. You lose the game by making several of these errors, and then they tend to compound, and you wonder why you have less units, or you wonder why you have less eco, and it's because of things like this. Well, your opponent is making T2 on his ACU. It's not too relevant, honestly, to what we're looking at here. Again, what we're looking at here is the simple problems. Build T1 mexes, they're the best unit in the game. The best building in the game is T1 mexes, the best unit is T1 engineers. In my opinion. You're free to disagree, but this is my replay review, and I will give my opinions. So we have a mass extractor being upgraded. We already have one built. Again, this... See, there's like a hierarchy in Supreme Commander of what should really offend you the most. And empty mech spots should be top of the hierarchy in terms of offensiveness. On a fundamental level, seeing your base empty of mexes and no engineers heading there should be just... should make your stomach turn. And you develop these disgust reflexes sufficiently, then you will become a top player on Supreme Commander. So overall though, what can we see? We see T1 stuff, a lot of T1 stuff happening. We got some eco. I like some eco. This is a good map to make mexes on. We also can see the scouting is not great, but you have scouted all the mexes in the opponent's main base, which is goal number 1. Now you can see how many T2 mexes he has. You see he has 3. This is important information. You have 2. You need... Guess how many? Yes, that's right. You need 3. It's very simple mathematics. These are, again, simple rules. Don't allow your opponent to gain mexes on you. If your opponent has 3 mexes, you should probably have 3 mexes. You should also think, he has more mexes, I should have more units. You should assume that, you know, vaguely you have similar efficiency in terms of executing basic strategies, basic unit building. And if you're vaguely the same in terms of efficiency, he has 1 more mex, you have more units. And therefore, you maybe send a scout here, send a scout here, and then start attacking, doing damage. Get some raids off on the outer mexes and the expansions, things like this. Also, you not only do the damage, but you also make your own 3rd mex while you're doing it. So economically, you shouldn't probably build... Well, we have a lot of idle build power here. These could probably all go onto the air factory, although the air factory's paused. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, air was paused because you're making the gun. Fair enough. We have no radar. Now, some players somehow play without radar. Some good players, I mean. Obviously, plenty of bad players play without radar, but some good players play without radar. I don't understand how they do that, so I will not recommend that you follow in their footsteps. Always have radar coverage. This is a nice radar in the base. In the expansion, you have one here. I would say good places to make radars are as far forward as possible. So this is a good place for a radar. Certainly. Also, very good place for a T2 radar. So make them up here, close to the mountains. So you get a little bit of vision into the opponent's side, as well as covering all the angles that your opponents could come in from. Now we're moving forward with the gun ACU on the side of the map with about 20 tanks and some support units, we'll call them. It's extremely dangerous. How many units do we have total? Well, we have a ton of anti-air. I don't know why we have so much anti-air. We have some Medusa. It's a fine mix. Land scouts, it's fine. I think there's a lot of anti-air, but okay. That's not a big issue. We have about 100 tanks, so we have about 1/5 of our army with the ACU. And we're moving forward, but there's no scouting happening. Before every attack, there should be scouting happening, because you don't know whether this attack is... Well, you just don't know what's in front of you. Now, with an ACU, with a gun ACU and these few tanks, and the other stuff you see on the map, you actually should be reasonably confident that you're not going to die to units here. That's pretty safe, even without scouting. It is pretty safe, because you can see you've just won a big fight here. Look at all this reclaim. You've won a big fight here. You've literally run over units here. you have units pouring all over the map. So if we just, you know, big things have happened right now. So we've run over our units here. We've run through here. We've killed a huge army here very efficiently. Great trades because we have way more units. And we're now killing this expansion. Well, at this exact moment, I'm going home with my ACU. Why? What use is the ACU anymore? Units can kill everything at this point, and if anything kills my ACU, for example air, which I've just lost, well, I probably grab all of the anti-air on this side of the map, bring it to my ACU, and then walk home with the ACU, probably through mid, and just spam many anti-air as well. Get every engineer on air production, perhaps. We have T2 land here. So actually that's a second option, is maybe support factory in the expansion and make flak immediately. Another issue. But basically this game is won at right now. If we look, he's losing all this expansion. I mean, this is definitely going to kill some stuff. If this is defended, you could potentially run to the base and force defenses there or do damage. The opponent has some T2 mexes in his core, but that is irrelevant if his expansion dies. So the game looks extremely good now. This gun ACU is just a liability, honestly, and can only serve to potentially lose the game. So we're killing this expansion. This army will be taken out, but again, there's so many units coming and so many units on this side that we can probably run into the base. But again, this AC is... Wait, how do we still have air units left? That doesn't make any sense to me. But okay, we haven't lost all of our air. Okay. Oh, we have T2 mexes and 2 T2 P-gens, and he's making another AC upgrade. Okay, what do you do with this information? Well, you probably wonder what the hell is going on, but maybe you don't. But I would say, at this point, what technology do you want? Do you want... Well, you have T2 land, so you should certainly make units out of that. And definitely make a quick P-gen. So here, this is one of the things that needs to be learned. That's a bit more complicated, I guess, is transitioning from one tech to the other. Let's pause for a sec. So we've got the T2 land. You want to rush your T2 P-gen because it's very good. It's very efficient compared to T1 P-gens, gives you a big boost and then lets you do many things. So if you start trying to upgrade T2 air now or whatever, you shouldn't. You should just make the P-gen fast, upgrade a couple of factories, 1 or 2 factories to support, and you can make better units. You can make flak to defend yourself against any potential air loss, although it doesn't look like you are in that much danger from air, honestly. This is his air force right here. One way you can check, you can see if radar blips are air units or not, because you can attack them. So sort of free intel here. You can attack these, so they're air units. You can't attack these because they're probably tanks or artillery or some kind of land unit. But yes, you get your T2 engineers out. Fine, good. That's the correct unit to build after you make T2 land, your first T2 tech. And you should just get all these engineers here to make the P-gen. Then you get them to assist an air factory. And I would say go T2 air, or just make many inties to protect yourself, and you sort of win by default. This ACU, probably his best option is building factories to claim this expansion. That's probably the best thing he can do, even though he has the gun, because there's nothing here. What does the opponent have? Oh, One T1 PD. And oh yes, he has Mongoose. There is some resistance here in the base, but again, we have some artillery. And if the artillery take out the PD quite quickly, well, we might not lose all of our Mantis. The ACU continues moving forward. These Medusa are gonna do amazing damage. Look at this guy has 3 veterancy already. So, yes, T1 spam, it's quite good. So this is the issue. We should just, oh, Jesters. Jesters is not really what you want, I think. I think, you know, Jesters are fine, but the issue is, well, why Jesters, you know? You can simply, you know, a big advocate of playing percentages, playing safe and solid. And really, this game is won. And Jesters can be easily defended. So you want to make stuff that can't easily be defended against. I mean, one flak will kill all of these. The shield will stop them from doing any damage. So, economically, as we said, rush that T2 PGen, and then you can do whatever you want. And also maybe make your second PGen straight after, but more slowly, with not as much build power. Then you make T2 air, you make T2 land support factories. You should definitely be making some of those, and just keep upgrading mass extractors, and take your opponent's base on the top side as well, and then you'll be great. But instead, you're going for the Chad gameplay, and I respect that. This ACU is only getting his first vet now, but he has successfully killed the enemy T2 land HQ. It's a pretty baller move. Now gonna walk into the base, kill this T1 PD from out of range. The beautiful effects of the gun upgrade, and that overcharge went flying. Then we're gonna kill the rest of the base with the help of some very, very highly decorated Medusa. Look at this, 680 mass, 800 mass killed. These guys have, what's it called? Victoria Cross. Is that what it's called? You know, all these medals. So it looks like your opponent simply has this base right now, and it has T2 PDs, it has T2 PGens, T2 mexes. This looks like a classic low-rated game where one of the guys just wants to make economy, and the other guy has discovered the way of the Mantis. So now the guy with the Mantis is out of his comfort zone. He's successfully killed everything except the last base, which is now defended by many static defenses. So this should not be any problem whatsoever. How do we deal with this? Well, we just take all the other bases, take all the reclaim, make it 1,000 times more shit than he has, and he can do nothing. That's what we do, and also we keep our ACU safe. This is very important. So we've got T2 air, that's cool. We got T3 land coming, okay. Now the thing about T3 land, it's quite slow to upgrade, so you want to make many engineers. So here's the thing. These factories can make more build power for you. You have full eco bars here, and these factories are idle. Make more build power. T1 engineers are great. It's great to have a lot of them in the base, and also, well, yeah, I guess you just have some stuff going idle. Again, this kind of stuff you can't really train people not to let stuff go idle, because it's simply just attention to what's happening. But now everything's working again, so that's quite good. You should make another PGen. Again, we have a full mass bar and not much overflow. Another PGen. Also, you know you're going to keep making economy, so you need to keep making PGens if you want to keep making economy. More mass, more power. Now, how do we finish the game? Well, we got a funny message with the replay. Was Kurze said he thought the water was shallow enough to hide his ACU. Now, there's several problems with this. I mean, the main one is that there is no water on this map at all. Second, he didn't think the water. He thought the water was deep enough. I think I said shallow enough, but he thought the water was deep enough to hide. There's no water. Also, there's no depth here. Because this is just a texture. And it's completely flat. And it looks like there's waves. But there aren't. There's not even any depth there whatsoever. So that was quite hilarious to read. and it's kind of sad. Somehow his opponent has the expansion here, and that's so many gestures. But we would know that he only just found out that he took back this expansion. But just build a radar. I have radar rings on all the time. Let's take a look. What do I have on all the time? Oh, whoops, I turned them off. Uh-oh, jesters are getting killed by anti-air because you have like no inties, so they're all wasted now, which is just a bit silly, but ultimately irrelevant. Should be irrelevant anyway. So we have T3 land finished. Unfortunately, it has gone idle again. This seems to be a bit of a trend that we're seeing. So be aware of the mistakes you make more commonly. So things going idle for some time. If you catch it quickly, it's fine. We're making a T3 mechs. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan. But we have so many T1 mexes that the opponent will never touch that we could upgrade to T2. I would probably do that instead. We need to get our MMLs firing. Just attack move would be fine. Anything. Just as long as they're firing. But we're now wasting our Corsairs. We've wasted all our Corsairs into the Inties as well. So this is a mistake. And now we're going T3 air. Alright, so I think we're floundering here. We're floundering a little bit. All you need to do, just clear this air. Get rid of it. It would take you 30 seconds to just assist this factory, make enough inties, and kill all of this. And the opponent has like one air factory, then just kill it all. It will not take long. Then you can build Corsairs, you can build whatever you want. Go T3 air after all this kind of stuff. But just, you know, clear his inties. Take away everything he has. So now he has inties, get rid of them. He has this. Get rid of this. Also, build a radar. As I was saying, I have radar rings turned on at all times. I only have countermeasure and radar. Countermeasure is SMD and TMD. Those are the only rings I have on all the time. So I know where I have TMD, SMD, and I know where my radar coverage ends. So that's how much I value radar. I don't need to see the other stuff all the time. I can see range rings and stuff when I select stuff. And that's fine, that's plenty. But radar is essential. So look, you know he has something here. Kill it. Make sure he has nothing at all except this. And this ACU, you thought he was hidden. You thought he was underwater. Even if he's underwater here, he's not safe. He should be at home, under shields, everything. The game's over. Unless your ACU dies. That's the only... There's no other losing condition for you. You're not going to get ground down over time or anything. you're just going to lose your ACU or you're not. And the game is... That's the only thing that decides this game here, because it should be completely over in all other respects. So, with scouting, he has shield ACU. He has a gun upgrade. Maybe it's RAS, because maybe, but it's probably not. He's building another P-Gen, that means it's probably not RAS. So he probably has shield and gun and T2. Well, big whoop for him. Again, a lot of idle stuff. This needs to die, and we're just gonna keep moving forward. Slowly, we started making T3 air, and then realized probably you can't afford it. You definitely can't. You don't have enough power. Instead of going T3 air, here's what you should do. Make a T3 engineer, make a T3 P-Gen here, then go T3 air. This makes more sense. And your T3 engineer is leaving the base. Thomas Hyatt said this: the hardest part of the game is stopping your engineers from leaving the base as you make them. So you're completely acquitted of all charges. That this is not even a mistake. This is just too difficult not to happen, according to Thomas, and I trust Thomas's opinion greatly. So now MMLs are firing. I like it. We're killing stuff. Kill the shield first. Good to target the shield first. That's absolutely correct. I said attack move would be fine because I'm lazy. But attacking the shield first is the correct move. Nice one. Now the MMLs are just firing. And they're hitting PDs and stuff. But you're running far away from this ACU. You have 80 Mantis here. Somehow he still has Intis alive to kill your Corsairs. Once again, just take everything away from him. Also here, you have so many Mantis, you could probably click on his ACU and then Shift G. An attack move is not very good. Not an attack move. An actual attack order is not very good, because your units will stop at the edge of their range. Oh no. Oh, there's 2 on bomber killing... Did it kill a trebuchet? I don't know, but a trebuchet just killed some of your units anyway. So it looks like you're not sure what to do against this ACU now. I mean, if he had 2 less interceptors, he would just immediately have to retreat back to his anti-air. Versus Corsairs, and he could never leave his base. If he had just cleared the Intis and had Corsairs, he could never leave. But he is leaving, and actually he's leaving and moving towards your ACU. And what's this? What is this? Seems like there's an army in this corner that has only now been discovered by prospecting frontier engineers. They have been wiped out in their search for gold. Okay. The ACU is still coming, and he's actually got more HP than before. The ACU, somehow it said the ACU was loading into a transport for a long time, but he never loaded in, and now the transport is coming home empty-handed, and the ACU is still here, while the enemy ACU and all of these units presumably are heading right here. And now Kurze is running. Bring the transport back. Okay, we have a T3 gunship now. So once again, we have a lot of mass. So starting to just make a lot more engineers in the base. A long time ago, like I said, would help with this big time. You don't have many engineers, honestly. Also, this is very slow. Don't make your first T3 B-Gem with a single T3 engineer, because as you can see, it takes almost 4 minutes. You don't want to spend that much time making your first T3 B-Gem. Now we've found an army, and it's killing us. And it's quite a large army, actually. Bigger than I thought. And we are dying. We have some engineers here. We have no radar. If we did, we wouldn't see anything because we have no power. because of this problem here. And we are surviving because we have the gun and the enemy is idling his army, letting us get out of range. We're not dodging the artillery shots, it seems. Not too well, anyway. Oh, we got a vet, though. And we seem to have killed the whole army. There's scouts flying overhead. There's no inties at all, or anything. Why? Well, the T3 gunship is coming. That's very good. PD is going up, but again, no radar. No radar. I have radar. You can see here, it's on S. So very... It's a key right next to where my hand is. Because it's very important. Now we have a full HP ACU. Wait, does he have... Oh, he doesn't have the shield right now. Why does he not have the shield? But you can see he is losing HP on his ACU. And his T3 gunship is great. Is there any way to get out of range of this ACU now? Probably not. You can try and do blocks like this. So you like start a factory and then immediately move away. So you try and build it right in front of him so it blocks his ACU, and then you can actually escape from his range. That's a pretty big brain technique though. Oh my god. 2000, you stopped moving to type in the chat. No. Don't do that. That is a terrible move. Now you're moving right up close to him. Oh, it's gonna... Oh, his shield. His shield came back. Oh my god. And now it's gone again. Was he stalling power the whole time? I feel like he was stalling power the whole time, and now he's on... Oh. Oh, the loyalist arrived. Well, he's 1900 HP. What a sad game. Very sad. But, basically, you crushed the guy. The guy whose name is Guy, obviously. Fucking hell. But, then we got the big time flounder. The fumble in the final quarter. And basically, well, it's hilarious that you thought this was water and that you could hide in it. But, I don't know what happened with the transport. You should have been in the transport going home a long time ago. You probably should just have not gone into the base at all, in my opinion. And just simply recognize that you had literally done damage in every area of the map. And so using the ACU was not enough reward for the risk. And then you still stayed in his base for a long time after that. Till the end of the very end of the game where you die there to an ACU. Also, the win air control. Why are 2 inties alive killing all your scouts and 4 inties alive killing all your corsairs for free? This is a mystery to me. Just make some inties, win air, take away everything. Like I said, build a radar so you can see this and crush it quickly. Build radars everywhere. Use air scouts, patrol air scouts. You can see what he was doing to see you. Look at that vision. He knew exactly where you were. Walk straight after you. Send his army after you. Not this one, but the first units built out of his factories. And it got him the win. If you had air here, he would never have any intel on you either, and it'd be very difficult for him to actually catch you then. But there you go. Now I say you need to send losses in for replay views, and watching it I was like, I thought I'm supposed to be watching a loss. So this is about as close to a win you could ever get, I think. And still lose. I mean, it's up there. But you know, everyone has these kind of very sad losses in their FAF history, so welcome to the club. I have many. And overall, I think it's quite decent gameplay. what I like is I like to see the form. So mechanics can improve, obviously, but if you have the basic idea of the game, then that's the most important thing. The form of the game, how it looks, how it should play out in general. And this is quite reasonable. You can see the guy, I nearly said the other guy, is fuck. He does not have the form. In my opinion, he's walking to his base, making T2 ACU, and then upgrading mexes with his ACU and building pigeons. That's not solid gameplay, in my opinion. I mean, it's possible that you can do it on this map, actually. But I don't think that's why he's doing it, because it's good on this map. I think he probably does that on a lot of maps. And not really with a good idea behind it. You made units, you know, tried to use those units, you attacked, you had a good unit mix. Your eco balance was reasonable. Better than I would expect in general, I'd say. Because you're not just ecoing, you're also trying to use units and stuff. And you know, practice will just bring that level up, but if you have a solid foundation, then it's quite easy to improve at this game. I should say that. I mean, it might sound silly, but if you have the good basic idea, then you can improve quite quickly. So, well played. Unfortunate loss, but, you know, I don't think you'll be trying to hide here here in the future. So, if that's at least one thing you take away, then that's good. So yeah, well played, GG. Hope people enjoyed this, and thanks to again Kurze for patronage and all of my other patrons. I have now 24 patrons on Patreon, so huge thanks to all of them. And I will see you. Oh yes, if you donate 10 bucks on Patreon, you get one of these replay reviews. Or replay roasts, I should perhaps call them. But, you know, we're trying to help you improve. And have a little bit of fun doing it. So, there we go. Thanks for watching. Check out the casters as well, Nartek and the Total Annihilation caster. And I will be back with some more coverage of Legend of the Stars Championship Final 2019. We're going to cast many more games from that tournament. So there we go. See you guys. Have fun and see you next time.